Hey everyone, it's Nicole again. I had to move myself in the house. I was going to try and do this from my computer, but that didn't work. So here I am. I'm hoping that you see this on screen written the correct way, but let me read it to you anyway. And it says, "We believe we're all born creative. We want to recover our own and protect our children's creativity." So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And the topic I chose was because obviously I've been talking a lot about creativity, and I try and think about what am I actually bringing to a conversation about homeschooling that other people aren't. And I really think that the focus on if you're going to homeschool, it is a creative process. There's other people who will give you direction and can give you insight and can tell you their map, but you have however many children you have, they are unique. They are different than other children. They learn differently. They want different things. You want different things. And I don't want you to grind through homeschooling feeling like you're trying to once again fit yourself into someone else's standard about how it's supposed to look, what you're supposed to do, how your kids are supposed to respond. And, I want to just bring us back to the concept that, when I say to people that everyone is creative and the question is, in what ways are you creative? It isn't whether you are creative or not. And, for me, I wasn't very artistic. This isn't the greatest thing ever, right? But that's judgment. To me, that was something I just did in the last 10 minutes before this going, how am I going to introduce this concept? And I thought, okay, I will draw it out and I can get in touch with my own creative, my own kind of 5-year-old at this moment. And so when I go back to in what ways are you creative, sometimes we've lost touch with different ways that we like to express ourselves creatively. We might have lost touch with it a long time ago. There's a researcher out of UConn, his name is Ron Beghetto, and he has a term called creative mortification. And basically that concept is when you stop pursuing something, your willingness to pursue a creative pursuit, when it ends because you've had some negative performance evaluation or outcome earlier. And a lot of this can happen in childhood where, someone looked at your art and you said it was beautiful and they said, or they criticized your writing, or they said you weren't the best actor, all of these things. So obviously I'm sharing this with you so that you realize as your kids start to do their own thing outside of the box, different than what any school would ever expect them to do, that you stay curious, that you defer judgment, that if you are going to judge it, you say, well, I really, really love this part and this part and this part, but what do you think about this part? And see if you can even save that kind of affirmative judgment for further down the road if they ask for it. So the aspect of getting back in touch with your creativity and allowing yourself to trust yourself that you know your children best and that you have been raising them their whole lives, or if you've adopted or came into their lives later, you still have spent more time with them than any teacher ever has. And so you can actually, I have no doubt that you can do this. And in my case, what I'm building is a place where you can be supported to actually define what success looks like for you, to ask your kids what success looks like for them. Work that into the mix of what you create more than you actually turn external and look at what the school wants, or because I can trust me when I say to you that if you do what you are going to be passionate about doing and something that's going to make you come alive and that's going to make your kids interested in come alive, you're more than likely going to meet any standard that any school would ask, if they actually are even asking, and if you're obligated to share with them, which may or may not be the case. So I just wanted to encourage you tonight that get back in touch with your own creativity. Make sure you're protecting your kids. And I'd love to talk to you more about creativity anytime. Thanks. Bye.